Just gonna put a beep noise over it.
I can't help but overhear you guys.
I'm so sorry. Are we bothering you?
No, I am loving this so
It's so
much.
hard.
You are taking it so seriously. You're being so good. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I just overheard the last thing and I'm like, yes, oh, this is so good. And I just love your approach. Like, in my research, I found out that, like, you guys are amazing.
Thank you so
You're
much.
amazing.
Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure to have you working outside.
Thank you, thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our very first episode of
Cracking the Stereotypes
with Koya and Connor. My name is Koya,
And I am Connor.
and we're going to be talking about the massive gender equality problems in our society today.
Massive. First, I want to talk about the general issues with gender inequality. Oh my god. With examples. Here's some crucial ones I wanted to bring to light. When I was doing my researching, I studied and I learned that only 1/4 of women are in parliament, where the other 3/4 are all men. What's your thoughts on that, Mr. Koya?
I think that's like really unfair, and that
Mr.
doesn't.
Atano.
Thank you. And I really think that's like unfair for everybody in our society. And I think that really shows like the gap between like men's power and women's power, and how we need to start changing that.
I agree. Here's another one for you. Of all the countries in the world, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you 3 options. Do you think 10% of women are in power, 20% of women are in power, or 15% of women are in power?
That's a good question. Based on what you said with the third of women, I'm gonna go with 20% of the women.
That would be incorrect, Mr. Atano. It's actually only 10% of women in power.
Seriously?
Only 10%. Now that is distraught.
That's like
terrible. We're talking about equality in this world, and when we're only getting 10% of women in power, this is where we need to take a stand.
that's really weird because whenever I'm scrolling on social media, I always see like people, like famous people, talking about how like we need to improve like our gender equality and stuff. And like I didn't even know about that statistic. I thought it was 20%, but it's 10. That is a huge gap of like.
And I could have even said 50%, make it seem like it's equivalent, but it's really not. It's not even close. It's very lopsided.
Yeah,
Indeed.
that's something that we really need to change. That is a huge problem in our society.
Let's talk about one that's even more disturbing. This one is challenging to say, but 1/3 of women in their entire lifetime, 1/3 of the entire population, the 8 billion population, half of that is women. 1/3 of them experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. Now that is terrible. And put it like this way: there's definitely women that have experienced this as well, that haven't reached out because they're in such terrible situations, such as domestic violence, all these problems.
Or like abuse like inside of their households.
Yeah, and it's something that they can't report or they're too afraid to report.
Right.
So when you put it that way, there's definitely more than just 1/3 of people, but statistically, there's 1/3 of women who've experienced that, and that's just terrible. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that is really disgusting, and I think that like the abuse of power that men have in like today's society is really gross. Especially with that statistic you said. A little while back, I heard that almost like 97% of like assaults, like on women are not what's the word, like reported to the police, because like the people that got assaulted were like not in a position of power, so like they were really like they were too scared to like reach out, and
that's one thing that's definitely, with so many men in power, especially in parliament and government and all type of workplaces, they definitely have more power, and it makes it harder for a woman to reach out when it comes to these domestic violences or sexual violences or anything.
Right.
Okay, now cut.
And then in this next part, wait, no, that's not right. Sorry. Wait. What was my line? And this display of power, like being abused by men, can also be seen in like various movies, TV shows, cartoons, even. Like one really famous example that I can think of is James Bond 007. You've seen that movie, right?
Yes,
Like
I'm familiar with them, but what's the problem with them?
Right. So like in the movies, like James Bond, the main character is, the main character, James Bond, is like fighting the bad guys, obviously, and he's losing. But then in the plot, he starts winning, and then after he beats the bad guys, he ends up like getting with like this very pretty girl.
Oh, the beautiful woman. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In like every single movie, without fail, that's always what happens. They get together, and they break up in the next movie, and then it's another like it's a random girl.
Yeah. Now that you put it like that, it kind of seems like it's always the man in power having to take care of the woman. Whereas, and it makes it seem like the woman isn't really having any individualism.
Exactly, and like it's making just the men always be put in like the hero spot, or like the prince's spot.
Yeah,
and he's saving like the princess or something. Like in the movie, he slays a dragon. It's like the plot is almost like the same in every single like James Bond movie, and like that's not even just that. Like that's like available in so many other like TV shows, cartoons. Some very subtle, yeah, and then some like not so much. It's like you can't even tell.
I agree, and I think that these all create a type of socialization where it becomes a norm. You know, like well, that's what that word means.
Right.
Socialization, where it becomes a norm, and you know when it's portrayed in media, you know when it's put on the big screen, you know it's like you think Hollywood can't ever do no wrong.
Right.
So it's like it becomes like a norm to people. So then it makes kind of like have them have this, what's it called?
Mindset in our society.
And even subconsciously they'll be thinking that. Like they might think that like it might be kind of like an underlying message, like inside the media, of like the man is in power and they have to save the woman. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that like sets like almost like psychology trick almost in our minds that we have to be like that men have to be like the savior, or like the strong person in the picture, when in reality that's not really always the case, and that's almost never is either.
Yeah, it's like subconsciously brainwashing somebody to think certain things, and that affects culture because you know the box office for these movies, and this is only one example of many. But the box office is huge, and there's tons of people, you know, watching these movies, and it can affect so many people without them even knowing it.
Right. And now that I think about it, one really nice example is showing that like the women can and are also very much empowered is Avengers Infinity War Endgame, where in that one scene after Captain America like unites everybody together, there's like that one scene where
Captain Marvel reunites all of the superheroes. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And that actually like I really like that scene a lot because it shows like the balance that like some movies are also starting to like.
Yeah, it was a powerful moment, and definitely with one of the biggest movies of all time. You know, it's displaying that women can take care of themselves, and you know it don't need a man helping them. That was the woman saving the man, and that was a very crucial moment in history. I believe so, and it's very it really changed our culture and how we see,
especially in like in the cinematic universe, and I hope like other movies and stuff will also like reach out with stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. And another example of this is shown in like music, songs, album covers, and like considering that's like one of the biggest parts of like our like any community or like a culture is like, and that shows like that kind of like empowerment imbalance is like also kind of disturbing.
I agree. So actually can think of many examples of this one. You know, music is probably the biggest thing in the world. Everybody listens to music. Everyone has Spotify or Apple Music. They're always listening to music, you know. You know, whether it's hip hop you're listening to or R&B or, you know, country music, there's always some underlying message there, and it's definitely, there's some stereotypes that come with music. And, you know, even in the biggest artists, for example, Kanye West, you know, known controversial artist, very controversial, has made many you know,
questionable statements.
Statements about women, and
Right.
one
And
of them,
not just women too, like even like other cultures. In
Yeah,
general,
definitely,
like completely disregarding and disrespecting them. I think like
yeah,
I'm surprised he's still even like
I think
talked about and
and,
famous. I think that's like ridiculous.
I know, it's terrible. One example I can think about is New Body. We'll play it here. I'll just freeze it. It's okay.
Yeah.
So in that song, you can clearly hear many talks about women having plastic surgery,
Right.
how their new body doesn't have any miles on it. You know, that's a term that's used.
Yeah.
Not in the song. One song that I personally like, one track off that album I personally like, Lose My Mind. You know, when it has these rhythms and these melodies, you don't really think too much about the lyrics. Bittersweet Poetry by Kanye West, another example that I've heard been brought up.
Oh, sorry to cut you off.
Lose My Mind. You know, it's a catchy song, but it has many tones about, you know, sexual
Abuse?
acts, not abuse, but sexual acts. You know, kind of objectifying women and using them for sexual intercourse, such as threesomes, such as that, and kind of talking about abusing money with women, sexually. And you know, it's just you don't really think about that when you're listening to it. Like personally, I listened to it a lot. It was like one of my most listened to tracks. But when I started listening to the lyrics, I was thinking about all the like disgusting things that were being said, and you know, it kind of changed my mindset. And I was thinking like, do I subconsciously believe that women are objects? You know, like it kind of had me question that. But you know, after,
like I don't think you do. Like I've known you like my whole life.
Yeah.
And you're not that.